Hi everybody, it's me, Liv. So today I'm actually working on a card that I'm going to be entering into the My Favorite Things challenge. So I'm going to be using what their color challenge. So the color scheme has a green, a yellowish, like a mustard yellow, an orange, and then some gray. So not necessarily colors I would normally pick, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot. So they had this really great retirement sale not too long ago. So I bought some things from the retirement sale of their background stamps, which is one that you see here. And I'm just going to be inking this up with Versamark. Once I have that all inked up, then I'm going to go ahead and use some of my white embossing powder on top of it. And this stencil that you see here is actually one of the newer stencils for My Favorite Things. And I'm putting it in the middle because that is the area that I'm trying to keep somewhat cleaned off for stamping. So now that I've double stamped it, because I always do it twice with the VersaClear, it's very hard to see, so you want to make sure that you got a good impression. I'm going to take out my white embossing powder. I'm just going to go ahead and put it all over the edges, and then use my heat gun to go ahead and get it all taken care of from there. I always keep either a napkin or a coffee filter underneath when I'm working with embossing powders because it's a great way to try to conserve it and not waste any, because it tends to get all over no matter how neat I try to be with it. So I think in the video you can kind of see where it is. This is a very subtle little border that it created, which is the look that I was really going for here. So now I'm going to clean this all up and then let's move on. Quick tip: if you happen to be new to embossing, make sure that you heat up your heat gun probably for about 30 seconds before you start doing it. It melts super quick, but it takes a little bit longer if your heat gun is not fully heated. So I'm just going to go ahead and get that blasted through. And once I have that, it's now time to start using some of my distress inks. So again, going with the colors from the My Favorite Things challenge this month. So I'm first going to be starting off with the green. I am using Twisted Citron here, and I'm just going to be going over all of the edges here. I did end up trimming the card a little bit more to make it a more standard size, so I trimmed it down to 5 by 5, and then I'm just going to go ahead and finish inking all that side up. Once I'm done with that, then I'm going to go ahead and take that stencil border that I had when you first saw it and put it in the middle because I want to just do a slight trim around it of the orange color. Now again, don't ever really use washi except for anything but to hold down my stencils. And now this time I'm pulling in a little bit more of that green, and then I'm finally going to pull out some of that orange that I had mentioned was part of the colors. I will actually take a screenshot and put it so you guys can see what color scheme I'm going with here for the challenge. Now, if you follow over at My Favorite Things, they have a challenge, usually a sketch challenge as well as a color challenge, and they usually last about 2 weeks or so, and you can enter and have a chance to win up to a $50 gift card. Now, I do love My Favorite Things, so definitely try to enter when I can. And like with all art, sometimes I'm in a mood to stamp and color, and sometimes I'm in a mood just to make a mess. So it really just depends. So I'm getting out my Memento ink because I'm going to be using my Copic markers here. Make sure you stamp it really well. And with one of the things is I love with clear Misty, because it really just makes sure that I get a good impression each time. So now it's on to coloring. So I am going to speed this up a little bit because as you guys know, don't claim to be an expert colorer. I'm just trying to keep with the color scheme from this month's challenge, and I'm going to go ahead and quickly color this image in. Since I don't really have anything else to explain to you guys right now, I'm going to cue the music for a second as I color this through. Hope you guys enjoy this. If you don't, feel free to skip to the next section when I just do a little bit more of some shading work with my stencil. So I realized as I was doing this project, I don't really have any gray in it, which was actually one of the colors that was part as well. So what I decided to do is really just take a little bit of gray and trim it around the edge of the stencil so that I can go ahead and bring that gray color in here. I'm also going to mount this onto a gray cardstock because I thought that that would be another good way to bring it all together. So I'm just filling it in because I ended up accidentally moving my stencil a little bit too much when I was trying to do some of my outline here. And then I am going to pull one of the sentiments from the stamp set. I'm going to just mount it, and here I'm actually going to use a piece of the scrap for when I was trimming off that has a little bit of the embossing on it. And then when I stamped the sentiment, I didn't actually really like the two colors, so I decided I'm just going to go ahead and do some color over it with some distress ink to pull it all together so you won't even really notice that there was two colors on the sentiment, and then use my foam tape to pop. And like I mentioned before, I'm going to be pulling in that gray by going ahead and mounting this card front onto the gray cards, and then my project is done. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, gave you some ideas of how to pull together your background stamps, embossing, distress ink, stencils, Copics. Let's just bring it all together. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you all soon. Take care, guys. Bye.